Welcome into Raiders Game Day, everybody. The Raiders get shut out by the Philadelphia Eagles on a cold day in Philly. I'm Amber Theoharis, along with James Jones and Eric Allen. And this is a game where a lot needs to be evaluated on how exactly this team and this franchise are going to go forward. They're 2-12. Pete Carroll's mantra coming in his entire career has been compete. We're going to find a way to compete. And they did not even do that at the most minimal level today. And this is, like I said, a time where the team really needs to do a lot of evaluation of how they can go back out there. There's still 3 more games.
Without a doubt. And this is one of those games where at the end of the season, at the end of your career, people are going to talk about what was your welcome to the NFL moment, playing the defending Super Bowl champions who are right now in a dogfight to be a playoff ready. This kind of football team, the stands, the weather was cold. This is one of those times when you look back at the end of your career and say, hey, man, that was the most difficult situation I've ever been in with a football team that's struggling, just come off a Super Bowl. They ran the ball down our throats and really kind of exposed this football team as far as, are you really ready to play and do your job on each and every play? Because if you're not, that Eagles offense and defense are going to take advantage of every opportunity they can get, and they did an amazing job today getting after our Raiders.
Yeah, for me, we've all been a part of some seasons that didn't go well. Whether it's Amber hooping, whether it's EA playing ball, we've been a part of some bad seasons. When you're a part of those bad seasons, it's one thing that you're going to do every game. You're going to play with effort.
Yeah.
You may not win, but it's going to look like, ooh,
Yep.
them boys flying around. I don't see none of that from this Raiders team. I don't see none of that in our losses. And that's competing.
Yeah.
Competing don't mean you're going to win every game. Competing is when you turn on the tape, man, them boys is flying around. They diving after the runner. They diving after the football. You see, man, the O-lineman driving in 5 yards. We see none of that. We see none of the effort. That's not competing to me. Today, I didn't see dudes flying around on both sides of the ball. I didn't see dudes flying around. And to me, that's on the coach. And yeah, it's on the players as well, but come on, man.
Your entire program.
EA.
Yeah, your entire program.
Super Bowl champion or not, we can't go out here and put that on.
That has to elevate your level.
You know
But
what I'm saying?
they weren't playing at Super Bowl level either. We're giving them
Exactly.
credit, too.
Yeah.
They were on
Yeah.
a 3-game losing streak. I just
Right.
saw them look
That is a very
terrible
good
against the
point.
Chargers on Monday Night Football. I was at the game. So, I mean, it's like almost like we're making excuses.
That is a very good point.
And we are being real. And JJ's so frustrated, he ripped his sleeves off in the middle of the game. I mean, he feels like you guys, Raider Nation. Let's take a look at the final stats. And you can, I mean, it's hard to read. 183 yards on the ground. This is after giving up, what was it, to Denver, about 152 games. The game before
10
that.
for 13 on third down.
77% on third down, this defense gave up to the Eagles. And again, the other team had the ball for 40 minutes of the game. It's almost a mirror image of last week, but 27 first downs, first 7. And the biggest stat, 29 passing yards obviously is tough to swallow. The biggest stat, add those two top numbers together, EA, 75 total yards of offense.
You got to find a way. That's your whole program. That's offensively, there's no reason, right, that should be like a first drive stats. That's the entire game. Am I not right?
you think it's the first?
That's the whole game, right? That's like one drive. That's like 2 drives.
That's how bad it is. And look,
wow.
That's only the second time in Raiders history that a Raiders team has scored 75 or less total yards in a game. You know when the last time they did it was? 1961.
Wow.
So we're setting historically low records. And I think it's safe to say, you thought the Chiefs game might be rock bottom when it was another 31-0 loss. How many times in a bad season, like you said, we've all had bad seasons, do you get beaten that bad twice in the exact same manner, almost with the exact same stats? So,
and you could see if there was crazy interceptions and fumbles and turnovers and that was just, hey, you know what, we're going to roll out, we're going to play some football, and we're going to beat you on offense, we're going to beat you on defense, and we're going to beat you on special teams.
You preaching today, man.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Like, you're losing games like that, and you had 1 turnover. It's not like you just going out there and it was 4 turnovers in the first half.
Right.
It's not like the Philadelphia Eagles is in Super Bowl form. We've seen them lose the last 3 games. Like, This can't happen. You're talking about 29 yards passing, 46 rushing yards. Like this can't happen, man. And then again, defensively, 40 minutes, the Eagles had the ball. We had it for 20.
Yep.
And I'm
We can't
rounding up
sustain
at
a
30.
drive.
But not only that, like the defense has played 4 football games in 2 weeks. Offensively, if you played 1.
Right. We talked about time
In
possession.
2 games, you've had the ball for 40 minutes in 2 games. Like, that's not helping the defense out. And I understand the defense didn't play lights out today neither, but that's not helping the defense out. We have to find a way to sustain drives. If we are not going to sustain drives, our defense is eventually going to get tired and they are going to break, and things like this is going to happen. This was not a good Philadelphia Eagles team coming into this game. They are not 30-something points better than us coming into this game. We got to play harder, man, and play with more effort. We got, 3 games left in the season?
3.
We got to finish strong, man.
I can remember last week in the middle of the week, Nick Sirianni was asked about Jalen Hurts' starting position.
Yeah,
And today,
do
we know what a perfect quarterback rating is? What is it, 158.6 or something like that?
Okay.
If stats can help me out. He almost had a perfect quarterback rating. He was 154.9.
Coming off a 4 turnover game.
4 turnover game.
4 turnover game.
When literally on Wednesday going into this game, Nick Sirianni was asked by the Philadelphia media if he should sit, which wasn't a great question. I mean, obviously you're going to play Jalen Hurts, but still, it wasn't like Jalen Hurts had been balling coming in. So Ashton Jeanty continues to be an incomplete evaluation for everybody. Like, I'm a professor at USC. You can you can put an I. That's what I would give him for this season, because we just don't even know behind this offensive line. Right. It's not like you don't see glimpses, but we can't even figure that out, JJ.
Y'all on the money today. Because
Nobody has anything to say.
I would have the same.
Yeah.
I would have the same grade. But not only that, like, I haven't seen some consistent runs even behind a bad offensive line. I haven't seen consistent runs to where it's like, man, he broke 2 tackles and got 7 yards, or, he looked explosive on this run. It's really, really tough to grade. He's looked good in open space, but running in between the tackles has been struggling. Yeah. So, it's a lot of stuff to work on. I know he's just a rookie. I know he's going to get better, but yeah, I mean, I don't know where or how to grade Ashton Jeanty this year, EA.
Yeah. Week 2, really, of a new offensive coordinator or offensive play caller, and you see some of the things that he's trying to accomplish early on, getting Ashton involved in the passing game, which I think is a great idea. You get him his touches, but it's not in a situation where he's just running up the middle. I think those are good things, but you just don't have the ball enough to set plays up. And that's really the issue there. When it comes down to it, you have to have the ability to have positive yards on first down to put you eventually in manageable third down situations where you can convert, stay on the football field, and set those plays up that you're trying to do with some of your play calling. So those are things that are issues. And when it comes down to it, offensive line-wise, you're just not consistent enough, not performing at high enough level to be able to take that 3 or 4 step drop and get to your second read. Yeah. The quarterback's under issues, under problems.
The only thing with me is, out of those 9 attempts, it probably was 5 one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we watching it was probably 5 one-on-one to where the safety come down in the box and it's you and him.
Right.
You got to make them miss.
Right.
At least half of those. Mm-hmm. And if you make them miss half of those, then that's an explosive run. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know if he's not in rhythm, not in a groove, doesn't know the offensive line as well. But with all else fails, you being drafted number 6 overall, when we see one-on-one opportunities, just like we've seen him have one-on-one opportunities in the open field, he breaks those tackles. We have yet to see him really break those tackles in between the tackle when it's one-on-one tackles. And that's where the explosive runs are going to come from.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has answers, and I think the biggest question is where do you start to go forward, right? Like, we're going to talk about that with Kirk Morrison coming up in just a bit, but I don't even think Kirk is going to have the answers. Where do you begin to get this franchise right? At 2-12, there aren't a lot of answers, but we're going to keep breaking down this game and the future of the Raiders for you coming up next right here on Raiders Game Day. Raiders Game Day is brought to you by America First Credit Union, the official credit union of the Las Vegas Raiders. Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights, only at Allegiant.com. Modelo, a reward for those with a fighting spirit. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Drink responsibly, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois. And by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Welcome back to Raiders Game Day. The Raiders get shut out in Philadelphia to the Eagles. And to give us some more perspective, let's go out to Kirk Morrison, who just called the game on Raider Nation Radio. And look, Kirk, you have to call every single one of those plays. So that's a tough job. You know, you got to call all 75 yards of offense. And you always are able to kind of take it all and put it into perspective. Is the biggest question to me, it's where do you go from here? It's not even like let's analyze what we saw because what we saw was so rough.
Yeah, I think all of that flag football coaching you've been doing, Amber, is working because it seems like that should be the message to the team. It's not about what today was about. It's how do you move forward. This football team now looks at itself and they're 2-12, and there's really not much in terms of what you're playing for. And this is what's going on around the National Football League for a lot of guys. When Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, comes out and says, I don't have fun, I don't have that joy of playing football right now currently because you're not playing for that prize, a division title or the playoffs. A lot of guys are playing for opportunities that may not even come with this organization next year. So it is some frustrating I think moments in the game, and you saw that today. The Raiders have not played well on the road in that early 1 p.m. Eastern start. Outside of what happened in New England Week 1, you think about some of those games. You mentioned the other shutout loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, same time, early start, or against the Washington Commanders, or against the Indianapolis Colts. And it's just they haven't found ways to get off to fast starts, and it catches up with them, and by then the game kind of gets out of hand.
Big dog, you know linebackers don't wear sleeves in the cold. What you got that puff coat on for?
I think it's fly. Is it like the 90s starter jacket? You got like the 90s Raiders starter jacket.
You're supposed to have short sleeve on.
Send me one.
You know,
Hey, you got to understand, JJ, this jacket only comes out once a year when it's cold. As a Californian, this is going right back into the back of the closet, okay? But I had to come floss on them one time. I had to bring it out, let them know, old school Tecmo Bowl starter jacket. Hey, JJ, somebody was going to win today.
Somebody,
we got to pan the camera down. If you have matching Timberlands, I know you're a 90s boy. I know you're 90s boy.
Oh, yeah, I got
Look at it.
He got the boots on.
There you go. You can't get low enough.
There we go.
There
he got the chains on. He got the chains on his feet. Okay.
Still Cali.
He's winning.
I love it.
He is winning.
I'm coming to win today. I'm trying to tell y'all, I'm coming to win today. Somebody got to do it. But
I just want to know, I mean, it's not a lot of bright spots out of this game, and you called the game. Just your thoughts on Kenny Pickett. I know 29 yards passing, 46 rushing yards. Offense wasn't clicking, but I don't think it was as bad as the stats say for him. What was your thoughts of his first start?
Yeah, I call him K2G, Kenny Two Gloves. And to me, watching him go out and kind of lead the offense a little bit, it did have a different look to it. A lot of it is what I like is that he utilizes his legs when needed. He presses the line of scrimmage. And early on, he had a 3rd and short and had Ashton Genty open in the flat, but it got covered, and he took off, and he ended up running for 8 yards and got a first down. So I like those aspects of it. I like the way that he delivered the football. The only thing was that they were going against one of the better defensive fronts in football, and Vic Fangio and those guys, they were ready to roll on that defensive line. Jalen Phillips, big Brandon Graham, man, he was playing when we was out there, JJ. He's still going, all right? So, to me, that's what frustrated, I think, me the most, because we didn't see a good version of Kenny because he didn't have time to throw, especially on 3rd down. And, the Raiders had 4 3-and-outs today in the first 7 possessions they had of the football game. So that was the difficult part, is that we didn't necessarily get a chance to see what I've seen over the last couple of weeks from Kenny Pickett, his ability to throw the football, get guys going, and the offensive line just didn't hold up today.
Yeah, this seems like a game between the haves and the have-nots. When you look at both organizations, very
right.
proud, Super Bowl trophies in the cabinet, but the last 10 to 12 years, they're the model of consistency. Upstairs, performance on the football field, you know who they are. They're led by both offense and defensive lines. You look at the fan bases, the Super Bowls over the past couple years. What do you think the Raiders should learn from going against the Philadelphia Eagles in the way they do their business?
I mean, EA, you've been here, you played here. You know, part of the Hall of Fame career that you had was here in Philadelphia, and you understand what this community, this city, the obligation that they hold the football team to. They don't accept mediocre. They only accept the best. And this team lost 3 games in a row, and you could feel it today. You can feel it around the stadium. How would they react? How would they come out and play? Because another loss would have kind of crept into their mind that the Dallas Cowboys could catch them, you know, in their own division. So I say that to say that they came out and they played the kind of game that they've been looking for over the last couple weeks. And so I think the bigger part is that how they built this team was their defensive line and their offensive line. And I think right now, if you're the Raiders, that's the way this team in the offseason is, how do I bolster my offensive line? How do I bolster my defensive front and be more efficient on the offensive side when it comes to offensive coordinator, which we know we have an interim, not a full-time offensive coordinator. So watching today, that's what I felt. Offensive and defensive lines, that's something that the Raiders will have to work on in the offseason. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I think we do have our Saquon Barkley and Ashton Jeanty. Well, and then you look at the tight end position today. Dallas Goedert was like, oh, my God. I mean, where has this been all season long? But we have our Brock Bowers, but there's some pieces that obviously need to be come together this offseason.
What is it, Kirk, about what you've seen from Ashton Jeanty that makes you believe that? Because up here we were kind of saying maybe to us he gets an incomplete grade because you don't know if you can fully say what we've seen, the full potential, but you haven't seen anything really bad. I mean, what have you seen that made you say that?
Well, I see that when the offense converts on third downs and you're out there making plays, and he gets more opportunities. You don't get opportunities when you're off the field. Remember I said the 4 3-and-outs. He can't get touches. Or I see a situation where they do convert on third down, and I go back to last week's opening drive. He touched the ball 6 times, and the Raiders started the game off with a touchdown, right? Mm-hmm. And then you kind of go away from them because the game gets away from you because the other team is going up. And so that's the part where I've seen the glimpses of Ashton Jeanty continue to be, ball out and do what, he does week in and week out. You just need that performance from the entire offense to come together. I mean, let's be honest. I don't think the Raiders currently have a number 1 wide receiver. Okay, yeah. Jacoby Myers was traded. Okay, Amari Cooper we thought could be the receiver. He decided to say, "I'm good, bro. I'm retiring." And so it's really been Brock Bowers who's been injured for the first part of the season, and now him being the only kind of weapon, you've got double teams on him. So it's been, I think, all together is where I see the glimpses of Ashton Jeanty when he has the opportunities. But outside of that, if you're not converting, he's not getting those opportunities.
And look, Kirk, here's the tough part is the Raiders don't have a number 1 receiver. They need a quarterback. They need offensive linemen. They don't have a shutdown corner. I mean, there's a long list right now. And it is going to be a big question. Where do you start in the offseason? What is the focus? But that's for the offseason. Let's let you go there in Philly. I know you got a long ride home. Hopefully you got some Philly cheesesteaks at least. At least you got to enjoy that out there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Kirk.
the weather, I saw some snow, right? I'm not going to see snow for a while, so I got some snow. And I do have one positive, though. I'll give you the one positive as I leave, is that 7 seasons, and Max Crosby has had 10 sacks in 4 of those seasons. He got his 10th sack today. So, I mean, not a lot going well for the team as a whole, but, Max Crosby's going to show up each and every game. So 10 sacks of 4 of his 7 seasons. Probably could have had another season last year. Remember, he missed 5 games. So That's the one positive that I'm taking, is that your best player is still giving all-out effort, and you want everybody else to follow.
That's a good point. Be careful on the team bus going out of there. I've been thrown snowballs at my team bus before, been on it. Philadelphia fans, man, they don't mess
Christmas
around.
time.
They love a good
love
snowball
everybody
fight.
right now.
All right,
Come on.
be careful. Get off the bus and throw it back at them, Kirk.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's make it fun.
All right, see?
All right.
Look at that. Zach Bond walking by. That's a bad linebacker right there.
That's right.
All right, I got to go.
All right, get on that
tackled
bus. Be careful on the way out. All right,
tackled him, Kirk.
we're going to take a break here on Raiders Game Day. We're actually not going to take a break because Pete Carroll is out at the podium in Philadelphia. Let's go hear what he has to say.
Okay, go.
Pete, not to question the competitive nature of your football team, but it felt like today there was almost a breaking point where maybe, not you guys checked out, but there was a little bit of a breaking point today. It felt like from a competitive nature. Did you sense that with this team, and what do you have to do?
No, I don't sense that at all. I don't think there's that issue. I think we got beat. And this is a very, very well-loaded team. And they just did their thing today on both sides of the ball, and they really took it to us. We couldn't stop their offense and get off the field on third down, and a couple penalties got in our way, and they were able to do what they needed to do. They ran for a bunch. They threw really highly efficient stuff. Wasn't taxing for them. We couldn't make it hard on them, and we couldn't get out of the way on offense. We couldn't make any yards, and so that third downs and all that. I mean, I don't think it's some big psychic change that took place. I think we just got whipped by a really loaded football team, and that on this day had their way.
Are games like this sort of an indication of maybe how far this team is from being a competitive football team like that?
I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that answer. I don't know.
Pete, you had told us and talked about the preseason how you expected this team to be competitive and to be one that would fight. And I'm not saying they've quit, but with 2 wins.
Oh, these guys fought their ass off. Hold on. Let me address that because you brought it up. They fought their ass off. That was the result. They didn't stop fighting. That was the result of our play right there. And I have a lot of respect for the roster we just played against. And maybe they didn't look like it in the last couple of weeks or whatever, but they played like they're capable, and we couldn't stop them. And so that's what I saw.
Reiterating what I said, I'm not saying they've quit. I'm asking you, what with this team where they are right now, what do you think that is going on? Because you didn't think this is where they would be.
Well, I would never think we would. What would I base that thought on that we would be really fighting for our life here? I have nothing but wins and background and history and all of that to set our expectations and to maintain the standards that we work by. And that's what we're doing. We're still doing it. We're still practicing hard. We're still working hard. We're still studying hard. The guys are giving good effort. They're in the weight room. They're fighting their tails off. The only good thing that happens is we didn't get anybody hurt today, you know. But they're doing all we're asking of them, and this is the result of it against the world champs last year, who maybe weren't playing quite like that for a month here or whatever, but they look like it today. They look like a great team today.
Your thoughts on Kenny Pickett?
It was hard. It was hard on him. You know, I thought, you know, he was trying to find his way to get some completions. He tried to run a little bit. He missed a couple. We got pushed in the pocket a few times too, where he got in trouble. I thought he competed, but he just didn't have much going. We need to run the football. If you're going to have anything going at all, you have to run the football. And so, you know, weren't able to get that done.
With the way the season has transpired for you, are you feeling any outside pressure or even more pressure within the organization?
There's so much pressure that comes right from here. I mean, if you could even imagine, nobody can pressure me more than myself, and my expectations and the standards that I've lived by and worked by are so high that they're almost impossible to meet. But that's still the way I know how to live, and still the way I know how to coach.
The biggest disappointment for you this year?
Yeah, our inability to just get the ball moving where we have some kind of substance of a run game to play off of. And when you don't convert on third down, you just don't get the chances. I mean, we said this, unfortunately, guys, it's the same kind of story. When that's the result of what happens with us trying to move the football, man, the games kind of pattern themselves. And that's not hard to see that. There's no mystery there. Okay, thanks.
Clearly, a coach is still trying to defend his team, not trying to give up on the team, and trying to keep them focused. But it didn't happen that way. So we're going to go back out when we come back after Raiders Game Day and hear from Kenny Pickett. He is expected to speak. That's coming up next right here on Raiders Game Day. This segment of Raiders Game Day has been brought to you by America First Credit Union, the official credit union of the Las Vegas Raiders. Welcome back to Raiders Game Day. The Raiders now 2-12 as they lose in Philadelphia. Kenny Pickett gets his first start as a Raider. Didn't go as he wanted it to, but he had a chance to speak to the media at the podium. Let's go back out to Philly.
Are you ready? Kenny, you've been on a Super Bowl champion team, and you've been on a team competing for the #1 overall pick. I'm just curious, when you're a team that's losing like this, you've got lots of holes. What is that like to go from the highest of highs to the lows?
Yeah, it's the game. It's the NFL. It's the ultimate team game. Always, it'll always be that way. Every man in the locker room needs to do their part. I know everyone's trying to do that. You know, everyone's looking for the right answers. You know, we just got to figure it out in these last three.
Kenny, is it as easy to say that it's just a talent issue, or do you, having seen it from the other side, do you see that there's other attributes that?
I can't pinpoint it on one thing. You know, there's a lot of things that go into being a really good team. You know, like I said, everyone's trying to do their part to make this thing better, and we're going to keep working here these last three.
Obviously, you get the first start. From your perspective, what did you see out there, and how did it go?
Yeah, we just lacked explosive plays. Couldn't stay on the field long enough. Couldn't help our defense out. Didn't put points up. You know, really everything. We just have to improve everywhere.
What were they doing defensively from your view? What were they doing to slow down that offense?
I think their four-man rush was getting home, and when they're rushing 4, dropping 7, it makes it tough, you know, throwing the football. So we got to do a better job of getting the ball out of my hands. I got to find guys earlier. You know, we got to win on the outside to help the guys out up front. You know, the pass game is really 3 phases: protection, myself, and then the guys running routes. So we all have a hand in it, and we all got to look to improve.
Obviously, the Raiders, you guys wanted to run the ball this year. It just hasn't happened. Again, today was another issue. What do you feel like can be done maybe to get that going?
Yeah, we gotta mix it up a little bit. I think gun runs under center. We can't let them tee off on tendencies. You know, I felt like they were a beat faster than us, you know, on certain things this week. You know, during the game, you know, beating us to the punch on some blocks, maybe. You know, I don't know what our tells are. We have to go take a look at that and see what we have going on.
For you, did you feel like you were ever in a rhythm for having not played as a starter?
No, that was the thing that, you know, we needed to help the defense out. We had to stay on the field and find a way to get into a rhythm, get those guys on the bench, you know, and not, you know, not out there for as long as they are, you know, for the past however many weeks. I feel like they're always out there, you know, so we got to hold up our end and play complementary football.
That's good.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you, guys.
And they already.
All right, so Kenny Pickett put in a tough position there to answer questions after he gets the start. And the hope was that Kenny Pickett's more mobile, the offensive line is injured, and maybe we can get a little bit of spark. But we knew it was going to be tough against the Philadelphia Eagles defense that was coming off a game where they sacked Justin Herbert 7 times.
Yeah.
Our offensive line gives up the most amount of sacks in the NFL. And there was a question in there about running the football. This was a team that wanted to run the football. I know during that press conference you guys were talking about Ashton Genty. Not only have the Raiders not been able to run the football, they're the worst rushing team in the NFL. I mean, they haven't succeeded at all. So first, let's start with Kenny Pickett. What did you see, especially in the first drive, because those are the scripted plays.
Yeah.
You kind of want to see how they intend to use them. Then when the game goes off the rails, you kind of lose that. But what did you see?
Very tough to have a quarterback that's coming to Philadelphia after they had played a pretty physical game in San Diego. But what I did see is I saw them intentionally get him outside the pocket, like on design plays, which, you know, I thought Geno was going to be able to do. I'm not sure what happened with that situation, was banged up or whatever. But those are the kind of things that I thought I would see from this offense rolling out, being able to extend the play, being able to press the line of scrimmage at times, kind of forcing and putting those secondary defenders in conflict. But what ultimately happened was the Philadelphia Eagles are very tied up and buttoned up as far as their responsibilities, making sure edges are in place when you're trying to get outside, making sure when they're blitzing and they have the tease stunts, the guys are going through the proper gaps. They're very efficient at running defense. So some of those plays that were designed to kind of trick and fool the edge guys, he's there. because their coaching staff has done an amazing job of getting these guys ready to play and understand like what it is to play like big boy football. What I saw was a talent deficiency when you talk about these two football teams. One football team has outstanding personnel and they played up to that personnel grouping, and then another football team that right now is struggling to find fits at offensive line, defensive line, secondary, linebackers, everywhere except basically the tight end and a couple of positions, Max Crosby.
And one's down, the other one steps up for Philadelphia. I mean, Jalen Carter had been hurt, and Jordan Davis steps up.
Bam.
I mean, that's what a good football team does. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to break down some of the plays we saw out there. That's Raiders Game Day, EA, and JJ's film breakdown next. Intermountain Health understands that life can be a challenging game, and mental wellness is vital to our overall health. It takes courage to admit when we're not okay, and even more to reach out. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, call or text 988 or visit strongestplay.com for mental wellness resources. Welcome back. A tough day for the Raiders as they get shut out for the second time this season, this time by the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, the offensive line struggled. Kenny Pickett gets sacked 4 times. And then Ashton Jeanty, who we've been waiting to get something going, the Raiders only rushed for 46 yards. So to break down what we saw out there in certain plays, let's turn it over to EA and JJ.
All right, Amber, here we go. And you're talking about what the emphasis on what the Philadelphia Eagles want to do. They want to be strong up front, make sure to get after the running game here. And we have to establish the run, JJ, to be able to be effective in the passing game. We're going to start here. As you see, 1st and 10, obviously it's a running down. You have a lot of room right here. You have a lot of room. You have some space, this inside zone, where it's up to the running back to be able to choose what hole and gap you're going to go through, kind of slip through. But the safety comes from 10 yards downfield, makes the tackle at the line of scrimmage.
Can we rewind this real quick? Can we go back? Because I just want to show the fans something. Pause it, please. Trey.
Yeah.
Why are we going over there? Right there, man.
Yeah.
Block Coop. Block him. If he blocks him, this run is an explosive run. We're just not doing the small detail stuff. You never pass up color to go to the same color and let the other color come down and make the play. Go block that. If he blocks him, that's a huge run right there, man. A big-time run that we're leaving out there. But still, for me, though, watching Ashton Jeanty and watching our run game and as these runs get going, like, it's paused right here. Bounce this.
Right.
Like, I want to see some explosiveness from you. I want to see you, even if right now we know our offensive line is not dominant, if you take some bad runs, some tackles for losses, trying to be special, that's what you do. Because right here, just running in there and running into Big David, like, you get a yard.
And if you make those explosive runs, then your offensive line comes back to the huddle. Even if they didn't do a great job, they feel a little bit more confident so you can get back to situations like this here. Again, 1st and 10, just obviously a rundown. You have an opportunity to choose which gap to run in. So you can bounce it back, and instead of bouncing outside, he bounces it inside. So it just seems like the decision-making right now with the running back situation and the offensive line just not in sync.
And then you talked about it earlier, you and Amber, right? They're built up here. Right? The Philadelphia Eagles are built in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And this is just us getting really out-bullied up front. It's not super special pass rush moves that we're getting. You know, you get this spin right here, and he's coming straight through the A-gaps. It's one thing that I learned playing offense. And I don't really go worry about the offensive line. But what I do hear a lot is you always protect the A and the B gap.
That's right.
We didn't do that right.
And for defense, you all think about penetration. Hey, man, that's what you want to encourage for your defensive line, is just to get penetration. Brandon Graham, he's just been active for about 3 weeks. He's 37 years old, and if he can continue to do this for this football team, it bodes well. Once again, it's just a bull rush, right? You got to be able to anchor if you're a lineman. That's the one key, I think, that makes all interior linemen great, is the ability to be able to anchor, and we have not been able to consistently do that. in this situation. And if you don't do that against the Eagles, you're going to have a long day.
And this is just one of the plays right here to where you come back to the huddle and you say, hey, he was better than me on that play. My bad. I'll get you back. My bad, Kenny Pickett, because this right here is just bully football. He runs through him, steps over him, and goes, gets the sack, right? Sometimes, like they say, EA, when Philly walk into their locker room on Tuesday, they got to check. Yeah. When the Raiders walk in on Tuesday, they got to check. Both teams get paid. That's good play by him.
Yeah, it is good pay, but you want to be biting and scratching and clawing, not to allow him to get to your quarterback.
I'm with you.
That's what I'm talking about. And I know the effort is there, but you have to find a way to keep those guys off your quarterback. And if you got to get nasty, you got to get nasty.
You got to get nasty.
Back to you, Amber.
All right, time now for one big number. Check it out. It is 54. That's the amount of sacks allowed by the Raiders this season. That is not only leading the NFL this season, is the most by a Raiders team since 2006. So tough to put perspective onto this game as the season just continues to kind of get worse and worse, and not being able to run the football, as you guys showed, allowing a bunch of sacks. It really doesn't seem like there's anything that you can take away from some of these games other than, you kind of feel for Max Crosby. He continues to go out there and put up these amazing numbers and giving full effort. He was held, by the way, on that one touchdown.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Drive, but
they're going to turn that in. Plays like that, they turn in, and referees like, my mistake, but they're not taking the touchdowns back.
So not even getting the breaks by the referees in these games, that's for sure. There's not much you could do about the offensive line right now. They're injured. You have two starters not out there, and there's nobody else coming the rest of the season. So kind of have to do what they've been doing. They've been using Brock to chip a little bit. I mean, there's not much else you can do.
Yeah, just learn. That's what you want to be. That's what you want to be.
Yep. Chance for players to take advantage 3 more games, right? And show what they can do for next season. All right, we're going to take a break here on Raiders Game Day. Much more when we come back, including a little fun here on the set. This segment of Raiders Game Day has been brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, the official soft drink of the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders Game Day has been brought to you by Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights, only at Allegiant.com. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of the Las Vegas Raiders. Coors Light, choose chill, an official beer of Raider Nation. Celebrate responsibly. 2025 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And by Twitch, watch, discover, join in. Welcome back to Raiders Game Day. As Kirk Morrison told us, sometimes you got to wear your winning outfit to the game, no matter what the team does. Yeah. And this is what JJ's winning outfit is for today. But it reminded, we couldn't put our finger on it. It was a Raider that we, Carroll Weathers, Predator.
Is that your bro? That's your older bro.
Now, let me tell you something. Now, my arms may look all right, but my belly, they don't look like that, My belly don't look like that, though.
Uncle Weathers was cut, man.
Yeah, but our shirt is almost the same, though.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's looking good.
So, you know what, man? I was just sitting up here thinking, man, and I was like, man, I seen Phillip Rivers come back.
Oh, okay.
And I said, I'm finna show him what I'm working with.
That's right.
You gotta get a contract out of this one.
Hey, no fingerprints.
You gotta get a contract out of this one.
Maybe I can get up in there, you know what I mean? Hey, Pete, what up?
Or a backup movie role or something.
Man, red zone, I'm here.
You know
what I'm saying?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
He looked like my uncle.
When you led the league, how many touchdowns did you have?
What was it, 14 or something?
He never led the league in touchdowns.
Red zone. Hey, me and Unc, that's my Unc, too. We look similar.
Did you know Carl Weathers?
Yeah,
he lit the torch at Allegiant a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, we lost him a couple of years ago, but just a legend. Not only is a Raider, is a movie actor.
He
did. He was a Raider. Where's your movie career?
It's coming.
It's coming, yeah. Just waiting for Scorsese to call.
I got to get started.
At some point, got to get the abs going so you can. Predator just came out. You missed your calling for the follow-up to Predator.
I unbutton this right here, boy. Y'all see my waffles and all that.
I saw what he had for breakfast. It was not conducive to those types of ads going on right here.
Oh,
All right,
my
look,
goodness.
a tough day, and we got to keep you guys laughing a little bit, and always going to have a little bit of fun. But look, there's 3 more games and a chance to get something right this season and get back on track and finish with a bang. And we're going to take you through what's ahead for the Raiders. Coming up next, right here on Raiders Game Day, as the Raiders lose this one 31-0 to the Eagles. All right, so the Raiders going to shake this one off. They got 3 games still remaining, an opportunity for some of the young players to continue to play. We hadn't talked about Jack Besh. We're starting to see we might have something there. And what else do they have? Here's what's coming up. Here's the schedule. They got the Texans, who looked really good against Arizona today.
They got some good defense.
They got a really good defense, and the offense is starting to score. They scored, 27 points today. The New York Giants, that's an opportunity there. They have not played well. I believe the Commanders beat them today.
That young quarterback, though, he's
Jackson
legit.
Dart is something to write home about. And to think he was in the late first round. That shows you can get talent in the late first rounds. And then the Chiefs, who have been officially eliminated from the playoffs.
Get them gone.
The dynasty might not be over, but
It's not, but they have to do a remodel.
They got to do a remodel.
Gotta do a remodel.
You know what? My colleague on Sirius XM Radio said it best. He said they just don't do the things they did well good anymore.
Right.
And that's a great way of putting it. But unfortunately, we never want to see anybody hurt. Patrick Mahomes did leave with a knee injury.
prayers
We don't know what it is.
No, we need Patty.
Yeah, I like him.
We never want to see somebody injured. So you hope that that he can bounce back.
3 tough games. 3 tough games.
3 tough games.
Yeah.
But if nothing else, it is an opportunity to show that you can compete. And I think that's what you got to show. There's certain players that are going to be on the team. Obviously, Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, if you're a top draft pick. But there's a lot of one-year contracts. Jason Horowitz mentioned it last week. A lot of defensive players on one-year contracts.
Yeah.
You've got an interim coordinator right now on offense. You know, Patrick Graham fighting. Everybody's fighting to show that they belong next year. And as players, you play for pride.
You do. You play for a whole lot of pride, and you got to go out there and play full speed because you don't want to mess around and get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're going to go out there, you got to dedicate yourself to the game, and you got to go out there and play full speed so you don't get hurt coming into the year next year. But it's a lot of holes in this roster, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, one-year contracts, I mean, they're going to have to rebuild.
A lot of young guys. We want to see that young youth movement and see what we have going into next year.
All right, that'll do it for us. The Raiders lose 31-0 to the Philadelphia Eagles. For Eric Allen, James Jones, I'm Amber Theoharis. We'll see you next week after the Texans game. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.